What is hatching, Toga peeps? Oldmantup coming at you today with a edition of Meet the Coach for the GBA D-League Season 2. And today it is my great honor and pleasure to bring to you the only returning D-League coach, the man, myth, and legend himself, SceptileMC, also friendly referred to as George, the coach of the San Francisco Arcaniners. How are you today, sir?
I'm very good. How are you today, Tup?
Oh, fantastic. Thank you for asking. Okay, now, this is just to let the fans who may not have seen you in the first season of the D-League get an idea of who you are, what do you do with Pokemon, how do you play, and just give them a reason to start rooting for the Arcaniners this season. So, let's cover the basics. What kind of experience do you have playing Pokemon competitively and not?
Okay, well, I started playing Pokemon when I was 5 years old, Pokemon Ruby. And competitive started, I guess, when I was around 11 or 12. And I'm 18 now, so I guess if that's a time frame, I've been playing ever since.
Okay, now, what gen did you first start playing competitive-wise?
Competitive-wise was Gen 5. It was the start of Gen 5.
Okay. Now, you've played for 2 gens now. What was your favorite one to play with format-wise?
Format-wise, I can't really give a specific because I like the things they changed in Gen 6, but I also don't like some of the additions, like the knockoff change, and while the weather nerf was necessary, hail can't be really used anymore because it could only be really used in Gen 5 in my opinion, just because of how the weather worked. So I'm kind of on the fence, just in between the both.
Okay.
I enjoyed them both.
No problem. So, you've been playing for a while now. What is your particular tiers that you like to play in the most?
Tiers I play in, I really do every tier. Probably the favorites are NU and UU. But I do play OU a lot more recently. So.
Okay, well, that's good. As we have seen with previous competitors in both the GBA and the D-League, having a wide spectrum to dive into knowledge-wise is really good, especially with the way the draft format has been set up in this season.
Yeah, the draft this season has been... It was a lot different last season.
Yeah. So, now, you are the only returning GBA coach. So, you are the one with the most particular format league draft experience. How does that make you feel?
Well, let me quickly think about this, just for a quick second. I don't feel it gives me an edge, per se, because a lot of the other coaches were in previous leagues, so they also had drafting experience. But being the only coach to come back, I actually expected a couple coaches to return. None of them did though. So, I don't know.
Okay, now, do you feel having a particular amount of success in your first season of the D-League, do you believe that that will put a target on your back that people are going to want to be the one who knocks George off and gets a win over him?
I think there's already a huge target on my back. I know every single person who is battling me, especially Gearhart, coach of the Seattle Star Raptors, wants to beat me. I think everyone's gonna prepare extremely hard to face me, and I have to do the same for them.
Okay, now does that encourage you to play your A game, discourage you a little bit because you think it might, I don't want to say an unfair advantage, but make it a little bit harder for you because you are projected very much so to be really good this season?
I think that's a lot because of what happened last season. Because I made the playoffs last season. I didn't end up winning the playoffs, except because I made them then. I don't know, it just projects a lot better. But I think my draft this season was very good, and yeah, I don't know.
Well, you definitely did have a very solid draft, and let's talk about that for a minute. Now, you've already talked into it. Do you like the way your draft turned out as a whole?
As a whole, I think it went perfectly. I drafted Pokemon. See, when I draft things, I don't go off of what I know is good. I go off what I know how to play. And that's how I feel. That's the mistake that people make a lot is they see that this Pokemon is really good, except they don't know how to use it. So I decided that in this draft, I would draft a lot of Pokemon that I previously used in tiers, like the Landorus. I've swept a lot of people in OU with it. Like Arcanine, I drafted last season, and it was phenomenal for me, so I drafted it again. I use Melodic, I use Shaman a little bit, so yeah.
So, well, that kind of answers my next question, but do you believe that you drafted to meet your play style?
Yeah, I feel like I did that almost perfectly.
Okay, excellent. Now, I'm going to pick out one Pokemon, and you mentioned it, that we don't usually see in the GBA, and that is Shaman. And when you drafted it, I was ecstatic because I love Shaman.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you give me, without giving away too many hints, why you pick something that we don't see very often?
Well, I think it was the 5th pick, right? Or the 4th?
Your fifth pick.
It was the 5th pick, okay. At the time... Okay.
Yep, sorry about that.
It's all good. At the time, I was looking at my team, and I had a Fire type and a Water type, and I decided I wanted to complete the Fire, Water, Grass core.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking at the Pokemon available. Of course, I had already used my OU pick, and the only OU Mon I would have gone at that point would be like Venusaur maybe. But I was looking at the Mons available to me, and it was between Roserade and Shaman. And Shaman, it's very powerful in its sense of stab moves. It has all-around amazing bulk. And the fact that it's a base 100 in every Statmon means I can run any set I can ever think about with it. And that to me is worth so much, just because of the unpredictability factor. If people think I'll be running Seed Flare every single week, they are very wrong.
Okay, Shaman, one of those Mons that has just, like you said, base 100 stats around, has an amazing amount of the ability to take a hit, and it has that wonderful natural cure, so you can rest up, switch out, and you're perfectly fine. So that's one of my favorite things to do with Shaman. Okay, now, your mascot is the San Francisco Arcaniners. What was your inspiration to pick that? Is your favorite team a San Francisco-based team? Is your favorite Pokemon an Arcaniner? Or you just like the way it sounded?
To be honest, I just like the way it sounded at first. I'm not a huge football fan, so I'm just in general, I don't watch American sports too much.
Okay.
So it's not really that I like San Francisco teams, and honestly, Arcanine isn't my favorite Pokemon. So it was just like, in the season 1 of the D-League, I decided that I would be a part of it, and I would have to pick a team. So I think I spent about an hour just going through every single sports team in like America, and then seeing the Pokemon I could put like right next to it. And the best one that came out for me was the San Francisco Arcaniners.
Okay, now you are one of the few people who got the mascot pick, and Arcanine is actually on your team. Did that have anything to do with your mascot, or the fact that Arcanine is just fantastic in this format?
It's more because he's fantastic. I used him last season. I think the reason I drafted him last season was more because it was a mascot pick, but the fact that I brought him back in season 2 was more because of how well he played in the first season.
Okay, excellent. Now, what do you believe at the end of 8 games your regular season record is going to be?
Well, as of now, the plan is to be as good as possible. So the best possible the best possible score is obviously would be 8-0. Do I think that's gonna happen? There's a good chance it's not, because there's a lot of good battlers and there's a lot of good competition in this. So I'm looking to be positive differential and a maybe 6-2 to 8-0.
Okay. Now, let's get a little bit more casual with these questions. Do you have any pre-match rituals that you go through to get yourself ready, psyched up, hyped up for a match before you play?
Usually I like to have a couple battles on Showdown before, just to kind of warm myself up.
Okay.
And I always, do I do anything like that before? Not really. I don't have anything like too like ritualistic, I guess.
Okay, fair enough. Now, you're in the heat of competition, going head to head with the toughest opponent in the league. Your mouth starts to get dry. You have a go-to beverage sitting beside you. What are you reaching for?
It is a Snapple peach tea.
Snapple peach tea, excellent. Now, on the other side of the table, you're starting to get hungry, you're getting a little bit nervous, you need something to chew on to take the edge off, give you some energy, fill up your stomach. What are you reaching for as a go-to snack?
Go-to snack. Oh my god. Recently my favorite snack has changed. I think it's pineapple now.
Pineapple. Interesting.
Great. I love pineapple.
Interesting. Okay, now let's wrap up this interview. I'm going to give you the opportunity to say anything you want. I want you to sell the fans as to why they should be rooting for the San Francisco Arcaniners this season.
The reason you guys should root for us, one is I'm a recurring D-League coach. What that means is I have more experience in the D-League and stuff like that. Also, we did get the highest rated draft out of everyone in the draft analysis. We got an A average overall. And I feel with the team I have, I'm going to be bringing a lot of unique sets that a lot of you are going to want to see. It's not just going to be the standard spreads. It's going to be unique things that I don't think anyone's going to ever think would come. So if you want to see some special stuff, some exciting battles, then support the Arcaniners.
Okay, well, once again, thank you for taking time out of your busy day to set aside for an interview to get your voice out there to the fans so they get a chance to get some knowledge of you. Thank you. It was an awesome interview.
Thank you, Tup.
Okay, guys, this has been Oldmantup coming at you today with a Meet the Coach interview with SceptileMC, aka George, and the San Francisco Arcaniners. All of his information will be down in the description below. Please make sure to go and sub to him, because the only way you're going to see his battles if you're sub to him. And I'm really looking forward to see him use the team he has. So, alright, guys, we'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.
Peace out.